Proponent for Sentience is the brand new album by Allegaeon. This is a group that has a brand new singer in Riley McShane, replacing Ezra, who left in early 2015. Ezra, if you're watching this, how's it going, man? I hope you're doing all right. And they have definitely been on the cusp of really becoming one of the elite of the technical death metal movement of today, the technical melodic death metal movement, the melodic death metal movement, whatever adjective you really wish to use in order to describe this music, invent your own. Call them science fiction metal, and you would only be half right, especially whenever it comes to this brand new album, this concept release, 12 tracks, 72 minutes in length. Really, the main story, though, covers only about 67, considering that neatly housed as the final track is their cover of Subdivisions by Rush, which was one of the first things that we heard off of this disc. A cover that really showcased their ability to morph their sound a little bit to accommodate the original source material while also still giving it their own unique spin. And it also introduced something else. It introduced clean vocals, which is something that was pretty unheard of in the Allegaeon camp prior to this, and it's something that is also on the album of originals as well. How do you know that this is a concept release? Well, you can take a look at the bookends and right smack dab in the middle and understand it. There's a trilogy that's based off of the title cut of this album, Proponent for Sentience. We have the Conception, the Algorithm, and the Extermination. The first two really showcasing what Allegaeon has really grown to be, the sort of circle of maturation being complete for this band, while the third one is able to still accommodate the same ideas, also act as a bit of a grand finale for this overall fanfare of a disc, while also having some help along the way in the tone of Ben from Scar Symmetry handling some extra guitar work, and Speed from Soilwork adding some extra vocals. That's a lot to digest, and we're not even really fully engrossed into this album as of yet. What do I mean whenever I said that the circle of maturation is complete with Allegaeon? And it's basically this. Whenever they first started out, they had the technical wizardry. They had that mastery. It was present. However, there was really not as much balance as you would have liked to have had. It was something that was not as approachable as perhaps it could have been in order to give this group a certain charm and allure, a draw. And that has since been really added in, is given it some real brilliant charm. The songwriting has certainly been a bit challenging and has started to really showcase and offset some of those negative values. Instead, now there's a lot of focus that's placed on the things that they do very well. Some of the technical mastery of the guitar work, the way in which these songs are constructed, the overall body of work that you gain from an Allegaeon album certainly feels a lot more dense, a lot more real, and has a lot more value to it as a result. And based off of that, the very first couple of cuts on this album present you with that sort of ease of listen, even though it is technical wizardry that is swirling about. And really, whenever you go from the first portion of the trilogy into All Hail Science and From Nothing, All Hail Science kind of echoes as this sort of echoing cry, this yell at the top of your lungs that's almost praiseworthy to this brand new idea, this brand new discovery that has been granted among the concept of this release. And this is sort of where science fiction is included within their discography, their themology, but it also parallels a little bit of some of the advances and some of the recent discoveries of man. So there is a definite fantasy here that is kind of getting a little bit close to the reality of the day. It's weird whenever science fiction becomes reality in time, but in the weird way, that's sort of how it's happened with names such as Jules Verne and really others that have followed ever since. Now, this is a band that also has a myriad of other inspirations, including classical music, and that is definitely seen within the fourth track of this disc, which is Grey Matter Mechanics, that then goes into Appassionata Ex Machina. And this is something that is showcased there, considering the first half of this, the first 4 minutes, is this lavish, technical death metal that you have already heard, this approachable phenomenon that the first 3 tracks have boasted prior to it. But then the last 4 minutes devolve into what I would consider more like a classical recital. This is almost like taking this whole idea, taking heavy metal and transforming it into a symphony of sorts. And it is a brilliant move, a beautiful move that goes right into Of Mind and Matrix. And then we get our midway point, which is the second third of the trilogy, which is the Algorithm. Now, what Grey Matter and the Algorithm have in common is their 8-minute length, and what differs between them is that sort of 4-minute idea that is more smoothly seen or more, tactfully displayed as more symphonic, as opposed to the delivery, as opposed to, the idea of symphony, where it is, tons of different music, tons of different instruments coming together in order to bring that to you. It's this brilliantly set piece to guitar, but the algorithm instead presents the second part of this trilogy with masterful charm. And again, it showcases where it is exceptionally important for this band to maintain that balance and dictate that balance between harmony and technicality, to really bring the yin and the yang together in order to give to a listener a very approachable piece of content that also really resembles technical brilliance, which it does. It reminds me a lot of albums from, say, the Faceless or Obscura, two bands that are considered to be the elites, considered to be very highly influential within this department. Allegaeon, with this album, really takes their place. They take their seat at the right hand of the Father, to borrow a phrase from Catholic text. This is definitely an album that follows within those footsteps and does so with an approach of fantasy, does so with an approach of science and really space and the future, and gives it an added bonus of charm. And that is showcased within the second half of this disc, where the songs start to definitely they even out a little bit. 4 minutes, 6 minutes, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 6 minutes, going on to 7. And really, your grand finale is where you get to hear some of these influences all collectively come together, along with friends, to give it an extra layer. And oh yeah, did I mention those clean vocals? Those are focused on this second half as well. And they are ones that initially sound a little bit weak, almost as though they lacked a bit of confidence. But as they rev up, you start to recognize that it was more so a building block process in order to really deliver the best performance piece. It's almost like this is performing the lyricism and performing the story as though it was meant for the stage, and it's very well done. Overall, this whole entire album echoes with simplicity whenever it comes to listening to it, and not simplicity in terms of there's not a lot of notes, they don't know a lot of chords. This ain't your daddy's AC/DC album, held to the nizar. No, this is instead one that its simplicity is in its ease of being listened to. For being 67 minutes for the first 11 tracks, 72 whenever you add the subdivisions cover, this is one that makes time go very quickly. And in case you're unfamiliar with the notion, in case this is your first foray into the Cover Killer Nation channel, whenever time goes quickly with a long album, that's the sign usually of a damn good album. It's one that has your full attention, and it's one that also feels very natural, and you almost hope that it doesn't end. Isn't it weird how psychologically that works? Whenever you don't want something to end, it seems to end really fast. Whenever you want something to end really quick, it seems to lull on forever. Well, this is one that you don't want to have end. This is one that's smooth, it flows elegantly, and it's one that tells its story very well. This could easily be seen as Allegaeon's real crowning achievement at the moment. But it could also be seen as perhaps a signpost for the future. This is the first incorporation of Riley McShane's vocals. Perhaps this is something that this band will use to even go even further, to become even more well-known and beloved within this realm of heavy metal music. It's hard to say what the future holds, although perhaps if I invented a science fiction of heavy metal and predicted such things, well, maybe I'd be right a couple of times and look like a genius. 92 out of 100. Following up Winter's Gate by Insomnium, we have a solid album here with Proponent for Sentience by Allegaeon. Man, proud of these boys for producing something that has such power behind it. These lads were already top 50, top 35 list fodder a couple of years ago. They were already on there. They've already made their presence felt. And with this one, they are really telling the world that they are not aiming to just be on lists. They're aiming to top them. I want to know what you guys think about this album, though. What do you think about Proponent for Sentience by Allegaeon? Let me know in the comments below. I am Cover Killer Nation, and we still have a lot to talk about. So I hope to see you right back here very, very soon.